Hello, everybody. This is Brandon with expeditiousfool.com, putting mindfulness in motion, as well as Fellowship of Universal Truth, Yogic Ministries. This message is for all of those that are out there speaking the truth, as well as those that are being triggered by it. And so I'll start with that. My pages, a lot of the times, they butt up against ego. It's kind of the point. They inspire folks to push past that, to push past their pains, push past their hurts, and continue their daily sadhana, their daily spiritual practice. And yeah, life is hard, but if we tap into that hard, and that's where we stay in a victim mentality. As science proves, as every sage has proved, this is a problem. Let me start first with some of the things that I have found to be true, that the reason why it triggers you, okay? So one of the things that I say that some people get triggered by is hurt people, heal people. Because there's a lot of people that are on a spiritual path that are still trying to heal. They're active in spiritual communities. They're sometimes leaders in spiritual communities. They're leaders in healing groups and things like this, right? So when they hear that and they disagree with something I say, then obviously that puts them in a divisive mindset. Us versus them. It's not like that. But that's where it puts them. Because if what I'm saying is true, then what they've been doing has been wrong. I can understand. That is a challenge. That upsets things. I get that. That's the point. It's supposed to challenge folks. It's supposed to challenge that ego. As Muji says, there is no compassion for the ego. We have compassion for people, we have compassion for souls, but no compassion for the ego. Because when you give it compassion, it allows it to continue and flourish and control your or other people's lives. The reason why is when you're hurt, you see things through a tinted lens. Your perception is skewed. So even if you have good intentions, which I believe most people do, but even if you have good intentions, it's skewed. So the best help you'll give to somebody is skewed help. A perception that is tainted, a perception that is twisted. That same perception that looks at one of my posts, takes it personally because you believe there is still an I, a body, a mind, and goes, I'm triggered by this, I'm upset at this. This is directed towards me. My messages reach about 300,000 people per day. That's not a brag, that's not a boast. I know the tinted lens can sometimes say that. My messages are always for the whole out there. It's for everybody that does hear my messages, right? They're ready for that truth. Anybody out there speaking the truth, know that even if you're triggering folks, even if bad things are coming to you, that's the test of faith. That's the test of faith that every true prophet has experienced. They blame Jesus of heresy. When Buddha finally found enlightenment, all of his followers that followed him the entire time left because they're like, he's gone soft. Right? There's been Sufi mystics that have been skinned. Joan of Arc been burned at the stake. Witches who've went through Kundalini awakening, they've been burned at the stake. All of these individuals, your saints, your true radical thinkers, right? All of them go through this because not many people understand. If so, our work wouldn't be important. So all the truth speakers out there, keep speaking the truth. Because if everybody could see it easily, our work wouldn't be for anything. Wouldn't matter. For all of those that have ever been triggered by a social media post, you go through a couple stages. And I'm talking about true messages here, but still, if you get triggered by any post, then you're not there yet. So it still applies. So first step is you want to silence it. You want to silence that message, because if that message is true, your message is not. That's comparison. That doesn't really work in the spiritual realm when you truly understand it. But you do. You want to silence it. That's the first message. Truth doesn't care if people want to silence it. It still always comes out. So it doesn't stop. But you want to silence it. 2, the second thing. The second thing is you feel a recoil inside, and you feel a need to justify what you've been doing. So then you try and attack it. Whether this is a post on somebody else's post saying, I disagree with this, or, blatantly, attacking them, or why this is wrong. It's one of those. Or you simply show people the post in your personal life, and you start down talking that person's work, right? So that's the second step. The third step is you usually try, and if you see that this truth is not stopping and it keeps coming up, you try and remove contact from that person. And you back it up and everything, and maybe block the person, whatever, so you stop seeing that message, because that message will keep rubbing against your ego. It will keep shining that, which feels uncomfortable, which if you're in this stage of comparison here, you haven't learned how to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. You haven't learned how to transverse that yet. So it'll follow those 3 steps. Now, varying degrees of it, varying levels of it, but that's the 3 steps you follow, right? Now, somebody who's advanced on their spiritual process, they don't get triggered by a post. They don't get triggered by a video. They don't get triggered by anybody saying anything, because that's their space to hold. That's their message to give. Now, granted, they may be giving it through tinted lenses and a skewed perspective. That's fine. Hold that space. There's not been a need for me to ever, I disagree on that post. No. And anybody speaking the truth, they don't get upset by that. I mean, they may block the individual so they can't comment on the page anymore, because they're trying to spread the truth and they're trying to get it out to folks. And they don't want any of those folks going down a negative rabbit hole, right? That's the main reason why I do it. The people that really respond to my messages start attacking these people, and I don't need them to go down that road. So I hope this message breaks it down for a lot of folks out there on both sides. If you're out there speaking the truth, I hope that this message gives you the motivation to look at those individuals and look at that situation and not be discouraged by it. And if you're on the side where you're being triggered by spiritual truths that are posted out there, I hope that this message illuminates a lot of the steps and things that are happening with you. That way you can really start to dive in and work through those situations. All right, everybody. I wish everyone the best. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day on purpose, like I always say, and stay mindful. Namaskar.